Hey, I'll throw another question out there.
Okay.
Whoever wants to answer, or each one answer. What is the biggest challenge Richfield City has facing them that you can solve or work on in your next 4 years? I think each one take a turn and answer.
Biggest challenge is to keep Richfield growing. There was a time where, when I was covering it for the radio station, was sitting in one of the council meetings and a business was coming in and they were complaining about the landscaping. And one of the council members just flat out said, well, if they want to locate here, they have to follow our rules. There's got to be a nice balance to bring people into Richfield. We've got a new business park sitting down behind the UDOT shed south of Richfield, south of Walmart. It's been sitting there for 6 years. There's a couple of lots sold, 2, 3, is it? And it's just sitting there, there's nothing there. FedEx originally came in, their little spot was not in the business park itself. If you read the minutes from City Council, they bought a lot next to the business park.
No, it's part of the
because
business park. It's part of our property.
the minutes said it was
It's part
outside
of our
because
property.
it
It's
wouldn't
part
fit
of
the...
our, it was part of our
Okay.
property.
But they came in, they did a 5-year lease, and you'd think that, you know, they'd stay there. Well, after 5 years, they left and they have a brand-new facility over in Salina.
That's not true either. After 2 years,
2
they had a
years?
change of
Okay.
corporate leadership that decided that they were going a different direction from the regional hubs that they had, and they pulled out of everywhere they were, and they paid us what they owed us on the lease.
But they made a regional hub over in Salina.
I'm telling
I
you,
know,
I'm
but-
telling you what happened because I was there.
But still, we're sitting there with an empty business park. Why are we, is it being promoted? Are the minutes talk about there's covenants and restrictions on what can and can't go there? Is it too restrictive for people to go in and build something there? In the city council meetings, they're saying 14 more years of payments out there. We need to get businesses out there. We need to get other businesses into town. We need to there needs to be, like I said, a balancing act where you don't have city council members saying, well, if they want to come here, it's our rules. There needs to be a balance between the two to attract people here.
I'd just like to make a comment. I don't know of any business that has turned away and not come to Richfield because of some rule that we had, so they wouldn't come here. I mean, every business I know that wanted to come here, they followed whatever rules, and which after every city in America has rules and zoning things and everything else. And I honestly can't think of one business, can you, Richard, that was going to come here and change their mind because they didn't like our rules?
Well, they didn't change their mind at that council meeting. It was just brought up that, you know, they were upset about...
Because all cities I know of, just, you know, my brother has all these businesses that he keeps putting in all these towns, and every one of these places where he goes, they have certain zoning requirements and everything. The county has zoning requirements on everything, and that you don't want just anybody to just come in without having to follow any requirements.
Well, a good example is there was 3 businesses built out at the same time. The Fresh Market building, Walmart, and Home Depot. Fresh Market went in first. They were required to have trees in front of their building. If you go and look at their building, there's trees right there at the building. Walmart and Home Depot got exempted from that. But they would not exempt Fresh Market when it was first built.
Fresh Market did absolutely tons of landscaping, and there's no way that Richfield City would have said that they had to do that much. They went over the top.
One of the requirements was they had to have trees in front of the building.
So, well, I wasn't on city council then, so I don't know.
They're in the
I don't
main
know.
street though, too.
But I was going to say, Fresh Market, you know, when they went in there and all that landscaping they put in, and they went clear back around the building and all that, I thought, wow, this is gorgeous, but it's way over the top. It's nothing that Richfield City would have said that needed to be done, because nobody in all of Richfield has done that much. I thought it was gorgeous, and I thought, wow, I'd sure hate to keep this up. But it wouldn't have been a requirement to have that much done. So.
Mike, wouldn't that be a matter of record?
The records online don't go back that far.
Okay.
I've gone through and researched it to try and find it, to get the exact quote from the council member, but the online minutes don't go back that far.
Okay.
Your turn.
Oh, do you know, let me just make one comment on that, because I do remember something now, because I was on the council a long time ago. I love landscaping, okay? I love trees, okay? When I was on the city council, back there quite a few years ago, no, I mean, everybody knows what my life is. It's over swimming pools and everything, okay? But anyway, but I remember back there, we went through, we had the Main Street Enhancement Committee and everything else, and we went through and we made, some things about, you had to have this and you had to have this, and there was so much landscaping you had to have and everything else. I went off the city council, the next city council said, it's too extreme, we're not doing those, and they went through, and you were probably on there then, I don't know, but anyway, they went through, and they changed some of the ordinances, because that council didn't like what the council decided before, so it wasn't, I don't think we've ever told one person they had to do something and then told somebody else that they don't have to do what the ordinance is. We've always tried so hard, all the years I've been on the council, it has been so important to make sure that you follow your ordinances and make everybody do the same thing, because it'll come back to bite you if you don't.
Well, an ordinance change from council to council.
They do,
That's
totally.
part of
Well,
it.
Yeah.
that was one of the things that I was going to say. I know that I was at a council meeting at one time when they had a certain developer that was developing one area of town, and they required him to have curb and gutter in front of his house and all the way down the street and whatever else. And they've allowed, whether it was been the council or whether it's been for the planning and zoning board or who, there's been other people that have developed that have not had to have the same requirements and so forth. And, and so there's an importance of consistency and accountability within inside the city. And that's kind of one of the things that I'm looking at as far as like to be able to offer the city is I want to see some accountability from all the way from the employees through the council in what we do and be consistent in what we do as a council. And I think that's probably one of the things that I'm looking at for the next 4 years, just to make sure that all the way from the employees to the council to the mayor, they're accountable for what they do and responsible for the decisions that they make, and the employees are responsible for the jobs that they're supposed to do.
Yeah. Now, your business, you just put in, we didn't make you do curb and gutter, because we thought that was, it doesn't fit everywhere.
Exactly.
So it didn't fit where you were at, because that would have been
That would have looked
dumb
just
if we
weird
had
out
made you
there.
do that.
To answer your question, I guess it's my turn. What do I think is the biggest issue facing Richfield in the next 4 years? It's hard to narrow it down to one issue. If I were going to venture to say, my biggest concern is that we need to plan well enough to be able to continue to take care of what we've got. What I mean by that is, over the last 7 or 8 years, sales tax revenues dropped in 07 and 08 precipitously. They've started to come back some. The city government is basically funded by sales tax revenue. We get a little bit from property tax. Most of that goes to the school district and the county. We get a little bit from property tax. Most of our annual budget comes from sales tax revenue. So when the economy goes south and people quit buying things or building things, then our budget suffers. The problem is that, and let me give you an example. A developer decides they're going to come in and build a subdivision and put a new road in. So we require them to build the road to our specifications. And they account for, in the development of their subdivision, what it's going to cost to build that road. And then they have the road built and put in, and they turn it over to the city. Now we're responsible to take care of it and maintain it from now until the end of forever, with no income to do that. Sidewalks the same way, parks the same way. Okay, so at some point, and this is happening in cities all over America, growth will take care of maintaining things for so long, but sooner or later growth stops. Now you've got all of this infrastructure and no continued growth to maintain what you've got. So I think one of our biggest issues and one of the biggest things we have to look at moving forward is making sure that we can afford to maintain what we've got, before we try and build anything new.
Sounds like a good reason to vote for that tax.
Well, and again, that's money coming out of your pocket again. And as Tudor said, and I'll pick up on that if you don't mind. As Tudor said, there's an initiative on the ballot this November. It's called Proposition 1. It's a statewide initiative from the state legislature. They have given the counties the opportunity to impose a 1/4% sales tax initiative, which is 1 cent on every $4 spent, 1 penny on every $4 spent, to be used as a means of maintaining and upgrading specifically roads. So bike paths, roads, sidewalks, signage, anything to do with roads. And it used to be, and there are certain funds that the legislature has in place to take care of road construction and maintenance. Class B and Class C road funds is what they're called, that have very narrow parameters under which they can be used. This 1/4% sales tax that they're proposing, that I think it's 19 counties have put on the ballot.
I think there's 13 that's on at this time.
Okay, the 13.
I think there's 13.
Somewhere in the teens. All the major counties on the Wasatch Front have put it on. I know Salt Lake and Provo, or Salt Lake and Utah and Weber and Davis. But anyway, and we're not allowed by law to either support or oppose. So just, but we can educate. So what it is it's a 1 penny on every $4 spent, if it passes, will go to a fund to help maintain and build transportation, I guess, rather than roads, to help with our transportation costs. Again, that's something that we haven't had a transportation tax increase in the last.
They've changed that gas tax since 1997.
Gas tax actually went up 5 cents July 1st.
So, well, but this is the first time since '97. So
Yeah.
in 18 years, we haven't had any kind of an increase in the, and we hate to see increases in taxes, but I got to tell you, when the city wants to do something, we have to pay the same price that you have to pay as a private citizen. And if we don't increase our ability to pay for that, prices go up. We've found, one of the things we found, we just implemented with this budget year an increase in our water rates. Well, one of the reasons we did that is because for as far back as anybody can remember, we've never instituted any kind of a water rate to help with maintenance. Valves go up in price, pipe goes up in price, labor to fix things goes up in price, and we've just kind of stayed here, and all these things are going up like this, and we've stayed here, and all of a sudden we've found we can no longer maintain, let alone build new, we can no longer maintain our water system at the current tax rate we were at, because we've kind of just, I guess, swept it under the rug for so long and said, well, we'll get by, we'll do what we have to, we'll make it work. Well, now we found ourselves in a position where valves are, valves are 4 times as expensive as they were 20 years ago, and we're still pulling in the same amount of money to pay for them as we paid 20 years ago. And so as much as we hate taxes, if you want to have a city, you got to pay for it some way, and taxes are the only way to pay for it.
Sales tax should increase though, right?
If sales go up.
Well, goods get to be more expensive, hence
Well,
sales tax.
other than
you're
your
right.
sales tax doesn't go up with goods getting more expensive and everything else, because people are shopping on the internet. They're not shopping at home. And that's what's killing Richfield. And all these little cities, is all this shopping that's on the internet, that sales tax isn't coming into your community. And that's what's hurting,
I
so.
know there's a legislation bill that they're trying to propose this year to try to help offset that, because that's a.
It's becoming more of an impact all
Oh,
the
yeah,
time.
it's an impact across the state.
And I got to tell you, as an internet shopper, I love it.
so-
As a city councilman, I hate it.